A recent report by Smart DNA reveals that 1 in 4 men are not the biological father of their child, most especially the firstborn child. This report presents a decrease from what we have last year, 25% this year compared to 27%. However, still quite revealing and something to talk about on paternity fraud in Nigeria. I am Olukayode Olumu. You are your host for today, and yes, welcome to Guardian Talks, where we bring you intriguing and, of course, the discussions that matters to our society. I am not alone in the studio today, and yes, when I'm back, I'm going to be introducing our guests that we are going to be talking together on this particular one, paternity fraud, and let's discuss together what are the challenges, what is the cause, and how can we navigate this one. A quick break, and yes, I'll be right back. Stick around. So yes, welcome back, our viewers at home, and thank you for being there. Yes, it's Guardian Talks, and yes, like I said, I'm not alone in the house today. I've got pharmacist Jonah Okotie in the house. Thank you for coming back. It's good to have you as always. That's the CEO of Engraced Pharmacy and of also the former secretary ACPN Lagos. So it's always a pleasure to have you in the studio.
Thanks for having me
so we are looking at paternity fraud. Before we, jump into the discussion fully, we look at DNA testing and why is it necessary. And, before we came live here, we were discussing, behind the scene, and we were able to look at some of these things. Why is it even necessary that people wants to do DNA, testing?
You always want to do DNA testing where there's a need to ascertain paternity or ancestry. So, which of course most of the time has to do with what you call inheritance issues, and then where you also have trust issues. So the man is in doubt about, are you sure this is my child? He's beginning to see features that look strange to what is seen in his wife and in his wife's family, and as well as himself. So it begins to raise questions. The other thing will also be for medical reasons. There are conditions where you want to check to be sure that, okay, is this thing in the family? Is it related to some traits? Yeah. So you want to trace the genes. Okay, so that's why you want to do that. So and like the report said, for some persons they did it for jackpot reasons.
Yeah, people who want to travel.
So those who want to travel. So sometimes some of the embassies will require that there's proof, not that you go over there and begin to make a scene, and embarrass everyone. So those are some of the reasons why people want to do this.
All right, thank you so much, our pharmacist Okotie. We have established, reasons why people may want to, do DNA testing. But the question now is based on the recent revelation by Smart DNA. Smart DNA, we know they are one of the top, when it comes to DNA testing. And yes, so last year, from June 2023 to June 2024, we have 27% negative of those who came to their facilities to get this done. But this year, we have 25% from July 2024 to June 2025. So, of course, a decrease of 2%, but all the same, it's still significant, revealing that 1 in 4 men are not actually the biological father of their child. Now, and something also struck my attention in the report that this majorly affects firstborn child. Now, what is the correlation between this? A firstborn child not being the biological father, for 1 in 4 men, what could be the cause of this, most importantly?
If you ask me, I would say social pressure. You find a lot of women they used to say that pregnancy is one of the things you can use to tie a man down.
those are those days, not now.
I still think now.
It works?
Yeah. If it doesn't work, then this report is validating that. So it's that, because as much as the narrative out there is that the average man is not responsible, but there are a lot of men who are responsible.
Yeah.
So the moment a man feels that, oh, I am the one owner of this pregnancy, the narrative changes.
It takes responsibility.
So it takes that responsibility. So what that has shown is that a lot of the men are taking responsibility when they were probably told, this is your child. So there's no way they will know. So now the tests is what has helped them to know that you're not the father. So which has brought back what every one of us knows, that it is the mother who can tell us who the father of a child of the baby she has born is.
Always.
So which is it, and this also brings home the issue of our justice system. If the table were to be turned and it was the men who were being accused of these things, all hell will have broken loose. It will be, let's go to the courts so that the men will be made to pay for this, pay for that. So, but now...
Sorry to cut you here from that one. Talking about the legal system, Nigeria as a country, there is no law per se that governs or punishes paternity fraud, in that sense. Unlike some countries in Africa, like South Africa, we know they have an established law. But now in Nigeria, does these recent reports, we've been seeing it now quite all right, from some years now. It's alarming, and it looks like government are not really that bothered about this. Shouldn't we be looking at bringing up a legal framework to combat some of these things?
Who is government? Government is you and I. Government is made up of the men and women who are part of the persons who this test affects or involves. Because DNA test is not your average 10,000 test you go and do. So for you to be able to do DNA test, you must be able to afford it. Because it's expensive. So what that tells me is the class of people. So it even tells me about the class of people involved. Okay, now, sorry. What if we now have a structure that mandates DNA testing, let me say, right from birth of these children? Could this also help? Or, that's why I was saying, government... It may not necessarily help because whether we like it or not, for reasons best known to everybody, different aspects of society, including royalty, you find that sometimes you don't want to ask questions, or you don't want to know. Just keep things, just let it be, let things, don't ask, don't know. But coming back to the issue of the criminality of it, I think it is pertinent that the government makes laws, criminalizes paternity fraud,
it is.
So that people don't get away with, because it takes a lot, emotionally, resources, a lot. So, and if care is not taken, we'll begin to have more crimes, because people begin to take law into their hands to do things that we all could avoid or prevent by doing the needful in the first place.
Now, talking about the law now, recently as well, we have a law now that says if you probably in a relationship and all that, then you send the money.
Send money, exactly, transport.
We have one that happened recently in Abuja.
If innocuous as that can be addressed
in the legal framework,
can have a legal implication, how much more?
Something
of this magnitude. Because it's lives that are involved. And if we are not to even look at the lives of the, the lives of the adults involved, or the lives of the children. Because it throws them into a lot of trauma and so many things. So for the reasons of them as well as the innocent ones, let's create the legal framework to address this ill.
Well, thank you so much, Pharmacist Jonah. Still talking about paternity fraud, we can relate this to also the divorce rate that we have in the country. Although we know that most of the divorcees and all that in Nigeria, most of the time do not report some of these cases, except for some. But at the same time, a report from 2023 per divorce initiative reveals that we also have a troubling number that shows high level of divorce rate in the country. Can we also link this paternity fraud to that, or there could be some other
it may not be unconnected because it's about trust issues. First and foremost, what brings two people together, it's love.
The love, we say.
Yes, love, and then of course on that is built on trust. So the moment trust begins to go out once trust leaves,
broken.
Everything else goes out the door. So if I don't trust you, why should I be with you?
So, very important. We need to begin to know.
Yeah. It also builds society.
Wow.
That's why it's not left. In Africa, particularly in Nigeria, at least I've traveled around the different societies. You find, I don't know of any tribe in Nigeria today, the average Nigerian tribe marries their wards to the families.
Not the ones they can vouch for.
Not just who they can vouch for. If you are going to marry, nobody goes to marry by themselves.
Of course, the family is always carried along.
The family is, the first thing is engagement. And what is engagement in its local parlance is momikimwe in Yoruba, and in Igbo too, the same. So is the families getting to know each other. So if that is what it is, where the families are involved, then we need to be careful to ensure that we don't take things for granted, because there are so many lives at stake here. So it's something we should take seriously.
Okay, it might not necessarily be the major cause, but of course we know it's also a contributing factor.
It's a contributing factor.
Okay, so now on the part of the women, they might not want to agree with us, but this, like you mentioned something earlier, that it is the woman, we all know that actually, that knows who the father is. So if you know who the father is, what's the reason for, bringing it for someone else or forcing it on someone else? I think this is quite not good enough on the part of the ladies who do such things.
I think we are just whitewashing it. It is what it is. It's criminality.
It is.
So it's lies, and it rests on the individual. So it's about character.
Your standard.
Yes,
belief.
it's about character. So if, or you feel maybe at that point is for some monetary or social benefit, or you think this man is probably has a better standing in society, so we'll be able to take care of. But then you owe him that right to tell him
the truth.
And there are instances where men know, okay, I'm not the owner of this
and they are cool with it. And
and they have taken responsibility. That, okay, fine, no problem. I'll bear responsibility. But when you don't tell that person, let us call it what it is. It is criminality. It is a fraud. So, and it must be dealt with as so. If not, we'll be building a society that gives room for all manners of things. So,
wow. Thank you so much. It's been an interesting conversation. And, we might not be able to exhaust everything concerning paternity fraud. Now, on the part of the victim here, the men, what can be the succor, or why will I say that? What can be their I don't know how to put it, when you find out something like that. Now that we do not even have a functional or functioning legal framework that punishes such, what can you do?
Interestingly, it just hit me now. It's, in a way, speaks to what we talked about the last time, mental health. So,
of course, it's going to have a toll on that.
And you see,
straight up.
Yes, it rests on that because, and it speaks to the need for a robust mental health system. Okay. So where you have institutions or systems where people can patronize psychotherapists, go for counseling, because it will take a lot for a man to be able to contain himself, discovering that
a child you have always known. Wow.
Not just a child you have always known. It's a stab in the back, and not many men can handle it right. If care is not taken, some will just take the law into their hands and do something stupid. So it is for us to be able to put in place measures that, okay, even if that is the case, people don't do something stupid. So I am sure at the DNA facilities, there are support systems that they will provide to give counseling, to guide the people to be able to navigate some of those things. So, but after that exercise is to make sure that it is continuous. It is not just left there.
Okay. Another interesting part of the report says about 46% of people, came into the what's it called?
So the facility,
facilities are Yoruba men. Then about 31 Igbo men, while Hausa, interestingly, about 1.2%. Looking at these disparities in the percentage rate of men who are willing to do paternity tests, what does this tell us about? Is it about a race or a particular region and all that?
If you ask me, I think it has to do more with. Without trying to sound like a discriminatory or something, but it is what it is. Amongst us as Nigerians, I am an Yoruba man, but we all know that the Yorubas, when it comes to sophistication, have that, you give it to them. So there's a certain level of awareness amongst the Yorubas, enlightenment compared to the other tribes. And then for the Hausa people, you want to trace that back to religion. So for them, most of their things rest on. So if it's God's will, fine. If it's not God's will, so you may not be able to eliminate some of those things there. And then in terms of culture too, I'll say the level of exposure for us as a people differs. You find the average Western woman is more independent and free compared to the other tribes. Yes, a counterpart. The Igbo woman, like I said, one needs to be careful here because things can be taken out of line. So, but you find the average Igbo man is, well, for those who are working, who are businessmen, who we see every day, you find that they are either in the marketplaces and their wives are with them. So when will she have time to go and be doing something like that? Or they are probably at home taking care of the children. But for the Westerner, you find she's working, the husband too is working. So in terms of exposure, I think the lines of exposure is more for the Western woman than for our Eastern counterpart, and then for our Northern counterpart. At least the Northerner seems to have practiced more of the harem thing than compared to the other people. So those are those cultural differences might explain some of those things. But this is just a small percentage until we go out there before we know what the real statistics is.
Wow. It's quite, something that I don't know how to express it more than we just have to create a legal system that combats this. Paternity fraud shouldn't be allowed to be, like you said,
people get away with.
We feel like, it's good, it takes a lot of emotional strength, a lot of stress on the person, on the victim. But now, let me now bring it down. Are we now saying that we have this high, or let me say, increase? Is it an increase? No, not an increase, rather. We have this percentage in paternity fraud. Does it mean that when we flip things now, the women are not victims in one way or the other? I don't think I've had more cases about maybe maternity issue or maybe something like that. Are we saying it mostly affects men? Are we saying that women are the ones who most of the times maybe do something like this, not the men. I'm just looking at a scenario like that.
I would like to get your question clear. It's not
Yeah, what
clear
I'm trying to
enough.
say is, we have more of paternity fraud, on the part of the women not being truthful to their partner.
Partners.
What if it's the other way around? Is it? Can we say maybe because women are not going for the test or something like that?
I don't get it. You are the one who carries the baby. You are the one who brings out the baby. So,
So there is no need. After, you already
there's
know.
nothing that can come out. The only thing we can speak to will be as examples abound out there. You've had cases where samples have been mixed.
Maybe artificial insemination.
We're doing artificial insemination. Maybe they tie one person's sperm to
the
mix
wrong egg.
for the wrong egg and all that, or even babies. I remember when I was growing up, there used to be a saying, something like "Maje como son like son in mercy" or something like that.
Okay.
So as in, it happens. Even there was a recent case where I think a nurse or someone was, one of the birth attendants or so, was accused of switching babies.
Wow.
Swapping babies. So you have cases like that, but this is a small fraction compared to what it is. I will still say it still comes back to the mental thing, because if the mental support was really there, I don't think the percentage will be as high as this. So right from the home, there will have been things to help the person to be able to handle, to know that, okay. I'm pregnant, okay, even if this person doesn't take responsibility, there's a certain level of social structure in place to help me to be able to take care of my baby. So that pressure to want to fit into society will not be there. And that's why if you compare the statistics to what you have in the Western world, you will find it's not as high. Because besides the mental health system that is there, they have a social system, a social structure in place, which is able to provide for the women to be able to meet their responsibilities. So that really diminishes the tension and the pressure on them. And of course, culturally too, the pressure to want to hide yourself is not there. So here you become pregnant and you ask, who's the father?
You don't know.
You don't know.
Oh, it's a big gap.
So sometimes too, I think there may be some other reasons that we don't know. Maybe some of the women are victims of rape.
Yes, that's another thing.
Yeah, so maybe some of those women are victims of rape. So, and unfortunately, because they could not bring themselves up to be able to come out to say, okay, this is what happened to me. They rather, like they say, somebody who is abused now abusing another. So that's why we really need to have that system in place to address some of these things.
Thank you so much, Pharmacist Jonah. It's been an awesome time with you here. On the last note, as we buy out of the studio now, what would be your, advocacy to the policymakers, in ensuring that we have, this issue of paternity fraud being legally, criminalized?
It's about the social order. It's society. Right from when we're kids, you find when we're children, like they say, the African child has many parents.
Of course.
But today, the African child has a single parent. You don't even know your neighbor. So now it's like you are on your own. So, and unfortunately, those social structures have been eroded. So we need to go back to that. Yes, we want to say justice. It's fine to talk about justice, but I think we should, alongside that, we should also be talking about the social framework. We must put in place a social system that ensures that everyone is well taken care of. That, to me, will reduce the need to want to dump on someone else.
Another person's child.
Yes.
Wow. Thank you once again, pharmacist Jonah Okotie, the CEO of Engraced Pharmacy. Thank you, for always, yielding to the call to be on the show. And that will be the size of our package today on Guardian Talks. We've discussed extensively on paternity fraud and, some of these things, causes and measures, and how the victims, the men, can navigate these issues. And, we're also advocating that the Nigerian, system can find a way in the legal framework to ensure that justice is served, and this will no longer be the case as it may be. All right, so thank you, like I said, for being there, and yes, until next time we'll come your way again on Guardian Talks. I am Olukayode Olumi, you are your host for today, and yes, until then, I'm leaving you in the hands of God. Yes, you've been good, and yes, see you. Bye.
Bye.